Hey, what's going on? My name is Sam, and welcome to the Perspective 9. This is a story of how money kills innovation. This is a story of a company called Microsoft, and hopefully the CEO is gonna watch this at some point. Uh, I used to be a Windows Phone developer, and one of the things that I saw by him saying recently, I think in the past year or two, that killing Windows Phone was one of the worst decisions that Microsoft has done. But let's look at why Windows Phone died in the first place. Because in the beginning, when it came, they had devices for every price point. They were in countries like Latin America, Africa for cheap devices, but they also had devices that was flagship. The Lumia 1020 still the camera matches with some of the mid-tier phones to this date. So what happened? Few applications, Instagram, WhatsApp, and some of the other applications by these big companies. They never ended up developing anything for Windows Phone, and that was the death of Windows Phone. If they invested a little bit in terms of forcing those companies like Facebook to bring their application to Windows Phone, Windows Phone might have never died. Because as someone who was a Windows Phone fan and a Windows Phone developer, and was able to also use Microsoft Xamarin to build the application and deploy it in three different platforms, which was really great. I ended up switching because some of those big apps were not available to me. The next project that Microsoft ended up killing, Microsoft Maui. Recently, I heard on the news that they fired a bunch of developers in Microsoft Maui, which is the new version of Xamarin, where as a C# developer, you can write one code and develop to multiple platforms. Again, one decision that I think Microsoft soon is gonna start regretting. Now, another device that I want to talk about, the one of the most accurate smart bands or smart watches that we had when smartwatches started to be a thing. Back then, when Fitbit started, the only thing it was doing was steps, and a lot of times it was getting it very wrong, because all it was looking at is a gyroscope going up, down. So they were looking at the XY axis, and it was not very accurate. Of course, over the times they ended up making it more accurate. And at the time, both Samsung and Apple started with their first generation devices. But when Microsoft Smart Band came out, there was even a research coming on YouTube around I think 10 to 15 minute video comparing the Apple Watch, the Samsung one, and the Microsoft one. And Microsoft, one of the craziest things about it was it had 11 sensors. It was the most accurate in terms of not only steps, but also heart rate, which is the most important. And when it was counting calories, it was also the most accurate in terms of calorie counting. They released the initial version, and the cool thing about it was that instead of being a one big bulk and a band around it, they put the sensors all around the device, so multiple chips surrounded by silicone. But wearing it over a long period of time, it was not. It was comfortable, but you would have skin irritations the same way that you get skin irritations when you have a plastic band with Apple Watch. And they even released the second generation, but they did zero advertising, and that device died. And now our only options on the market are Garmin, which most people don't even know about, Apple or Samsung. Now, another technology that Microsoft just killed recently, VR. Now we are seeing recently all these companies with the XR glasses, which is just an external display that shows on top of your eye. Apple doing their own thing. Samsung and Google are gonna release one in partnership very soon. And what did you do, Microsoft? You came and removed the VR drivers in Windows 11 in one of the updates in 2024 or 5. I'm not sure about the exact day. You guys can Google it. Which means that people who are using Steam, they need to go to a Windows 10 version, which is unsupported, which creates security risks. And all of the devices that were introduced in 2017-18, no one can use them. So right now, if you want VR, your only options are MetaQuest, or pay a lot of money to go with HTC Vive, or some of these companies that, or Apple, that have their own software on top of it. You cannot just have a device that you can plug into your computer and use. So that's where the competition of the XR glasses are coming. I think that was a very bad decision of removing 3D options and VR options for people on Windows. The other things that you're doing that are very wrong is, yes, you try to bring cool technologies, but you always bring it with the mindset of not thinking about privacy. And right now, one of the other things that you have done that was kind of cool was the partnership with Ubuntu, bringing Linux onto Windows, which was cool. But every single time that you bring some feature from Copilot to something else that attacks people's privacy, putting ads on your operating system, and everything that you brought on, you canceled. You brought on, you canceled, because all of the people who use Windows, they always complain about it. Now we have a perfect solution, Linux, and now especially both Ubuntu and Debian are good enough that the same way that it's easy for someone to install Windows, they can install their version of Linux that they want. Now I feel like it should be more popularized to use Linux, and especially with the Steam OS doing it on Linux and all these gaming company moving to Linux, the use of Windows is gonna drop down drastically. But again, that's one of the mistakes that you guys are doing. You guys are not supporting Windows enough and creating all of these privacy issues. The other thing that you guys are doing wrong for the privacy was removing the option to be able to log into Windows without having a Microsoft account. What if someone, even if you guys' privacy is very perfect, what if someone is just crazy and is like, oh, I don't want to have a Microsoft account, I want to be offline in my bunker? They should have that option, and they don't. Now, why Microsoft doesn't care about any of this is because money. Their biggest contracts, their biggest source of revenue is from Azure, from their contracts with big companies that they sell Windows licenses to, Windows Server licenses to, Azure services, now Copilot services. So for what is it worth to them, losing those little stuff, it's not a big deal. Now, how can Microsoft come back from this? First, make a very good privacy statement, because you can see at Adobe's price after they start doing scammy activities about stealing people's data and removing the option for them to cancel for free. They lost a lot of revenue and a lot of users. So make a proper privacy investment. Second, invest in mobile. Mobile is the first device that every human has. No matter if it's a tablet or a cell phone as a kid that you get, your second device is a TV, and your third device is a laptop. And third, every single technology that is cool, that your developers tell you it's cool, that your customers say it's cool, maybe keep it. But again, I know that's not a lot of revenue for you. So yeah, so this is the story of how money kills innovation and technology. Let me know what you guys think, and let me know if I got anything wrong.